Hi students, this session is on current affairs April 2020. This session is in English medium. The session in Hindi medium is also there in the playlist. If you are not comfortable with the English medium current affairs, then you can switch to the session that is there in the playlist which is in Hindi medium also. You have to watch the entire session because I want to tell you something. You are going to see at least 4 to 5 questions absolutely the same in your exams because this session is that significant from the perspective of all competitive exams, believe me. Because if you watch the entire session, then only you'll be able to understand how important these questions are. Each and every question, I'll lay emphasis on this point that every question is that important. Please make notes of them and don't forget to mention that these many questions were there in your exams. I would love to have that feedback as well. I'll start the question. At the end, the revision is going to be very beneficial for you guys. The revision, in that revision part, I'll actually make you learn, make you revise whatever we have studied. Press the like button for sure if you like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel by pressing the bell icon as well. I'll start with the first question. 100% tax exemption on donations to PM CARES is allowed under Section 80G. You must be thinking there's nothing important in that. I'll tell you what is important and how is that important. You must be thinking that when we talk about PM CARES fund, that is PM CARES, that's the complete name, but that's not. That's absolutely not. Because I'm going to explain something else, that is PM CARES has an expanded form. Yes, and that can be your exam question. PM CARES, where we are going to expand it by calling it Prime Minister's Citizen Assistance and Relief in Emergency Situations. I've written that clearly here. I'm saying PM CARES means Prime Minister's Citizen Assistance and Relief in Emergency Situations. But apart from the full form, you need to understand that 100%, if you donate, 100% tax exemption is there under 80G. What is that 80G? 80G of IT Act 1961. So that's how the question becomes important for you. Let's move to the other question. Today's session is going to be a little lengthier. You need to watch the entire session. I'm saying that because the session is obviously very important. I spent a lot of time selecting these questions. You have to learn all of them. That's how they are going to be beneficial for you. Author of, that means I'm going to explain the book out here. The name of the book is Backstage. Backstage, the story behind India's high growth years. That's the name of the book, written by Montek Singh Ahluwalia. You've heard the name before. I know that. I'm saying Montek Singh Ahluwalia is the author of the book Backstage. Backstage, if we explain it further, Backstage, the complete name is the story behind India's high growth years. Let's move to the third question. Mumbai Central Railway Station renamed as. As you guys can make out, the name of the station sounds very important. The name of the station, the significance, obviously that place becomes important for us. If there's some change out there, then we have to learn that. That is why, as it is being renamed, I'm going to tell you the new name and you have to keep that in your mind for sure. Nana Shankar Seth. Nana Shankar Seth Mumbai Railway Station, Mumbai Central Railway Station. That means the entire name is not getting changed. Only the fewer things are getting added. So Nana Shankar Seth Mumbai Central Railway Station. That is going to be the new name of Mumbai Central Railway Station. Let's move to the other question. New chairman of NASSCOM. If you guys are not aware of the full form of NASSCOM, I'm going to explain that as well. I am saying Infosys UB Praveen Rao has become, as in he remained associated with Infosys earlier, now he has become the chairman of NASSCOM. And what is NASSCOM? That is National Association of Software and Services Companies. I'll repeat that. National Association of Software and Services Companies, that is NASSCOM, and UB Praveen Rao has become the new chairman of NASSCOM. The next question is, now see, when I actually call it a question, you need to understand if there's one point and I'm explaining 2-3 things out there, all of them can be made questions. So I'll explain that point by point. Let's start. I'm going to explain about RBI's extension. Extension of what sort? Let's read that first. RBI extends overdraft limit to states and union territories from 14 working days to 21 working days. It is like a bank has given you a credit card, all right? If there's a cycle in which you have to pay money back to the bank, see, credit card is not your money. Please understand that. If you have a credit card, that means you have taken loan from the bank. Why? Because if you swipe it somewhere, you are spending money and that is not your money. That is bank's money. You will pay some interest on that and you will pay back that money to the bank. Here, the same thing is happening. Overdraft facility. States have some money. They have to pay back those amounts basically which they have taken. The cycle for that was earlier 14 working days. Now RBI has increased those working days to 21. So RBI extends overdraft limit to states and UTs from 14 working days to 21 working days due to COVID-19. They have increased. See, every state, every person requires some sort of relaxation during this tough time. So that sort of relaxation was given by RBI to states and UTs. Let's move ahead. Let's move to the second point. The second point states that RBI has also increased ways and means advances. Ways and means advances limit of states by 60%. What does it mean? See, RBI is giving advance money if there's any mismatch in the revenue of states, which generally happens. We all know that. If there's any mismatch in the revenue of states, then they expect money from the RBI. RBI gives them advance. If RBI gives 1 crore advance to one state, now that limit has been increased. The state can get the advance money of not 1 crores but 1.6 crores because the limit has increased to 60%. 1 crore the state deserved. I am saying that deserving limit has been increased to 60%. So additional 60% will be given to that state. But that is going to happen till September 2020 because during the time of COVID, these are the relaxations given by RBI or by the government. Alright. Over and above the level as on March 31st, 2020 that I was actually reading and explaining. You need to understand if a state requires some sort of help, that is why they are getting 60% hike. 60% hike in ways and means advances. They are getting that sort of hike. Such sort of suggestion, such sort of recommendation was obviously given by some committee that states presently require money. This suggestion was given by Sudhir Srivastava committee. Sudhir Srivastava committee suggested increasing ways and means advances limit. Let's move to the next question. Number 1, state and micro irrigation under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana for 2019-20, and that is Tamil Nadu. But you must be thinking, we all know irrigation, providing water to the crops, that is irrigation. Providing water to the crops, that is irrigation. That's how the earth becomes productive and the producers are actually, there. But anyway, I was saying something else. I was saying, what is micro irrigation? See, micro irrigation in a superficial manner, I just wish to explain it like that by using less water, if the produce is all right, if the state remained very productive, that is very difficult. You guys understand that. Tamil Nadu faces such sort of problem, but they performed very well. That is why they stood number 1 state in micro irrigation under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Tamil Nadu remained number 1 state. Let's move to the other question. Here I am going to explain 4 more points which are associated with games. So when we actually read them, World Games were expected to be held in 2021. They've been increased, as in the time duration has been postponed, and it has become 2022 now. So World Games will take place in the year 2022, and the venue is going to be Birmingham. And whenever I actually utter this place, Birmingham, everybody associates it with UK. Birmingham, Alabama, USA. That means I'm not referring to that Birmingham, I'm referring to Birmingham, which is in Alabama, USA. So World Games 2022, which has been postponed, will take place in 2022, and I said the place was going to be Birmingham, Alabama, USA. We all know that Olympic Games, they were expected to take place in Tokyo, Japan. I taught you that, but due to the calamity of COVID-19, the Olympic Games have been actually postponed too. So in 2021 they'll take place, because they were expected to take place in 2020. Now they have been postponed too, so they'll take place in Tokyo, Japan only. But in 2021, I'm referring to Summer Olympics as well as Paralympics. And apart from that, I wish to explain something else. If you read the point carefully, the venue of 2024 has already been decided. So the games which are going to take place in 2024, that means Summer Olympics and Paralympics only, they'll take place in Paris, France. Beijing, China, Winter Olympics 2022 will take place there only. That I've taught you, that remains the same. Let's move to the other question now. Now we're going to read something about liquidity coverage ratio. Liquidity coverage ratio. I'll explain everything from the full form to the details. Everything is super relevant and very important. Liquidity coverage ratio. Requirement of banks reduced to 80%. Must be thinking LCR. See, those who are familiar with the point, with the term liquidity coverage ratio, it remains 100%. But they have reduced that. RBI has reduced it to 80%. Liquidity coverage ratio was reduced to 80%. It remains 100%. It is kept 100%. It has to be like that. But I'm saying liquidity coverage ratio was reduced to 80%, but gradually they'll be increasing it. In phases, they'll be increasing it. The question can be there in your exam where they may ask you till when it is going to remain 80%. So till September 30, 2020, this year, September 30th, 2020, it will remain 80%. But October 2020, it will increase to 90%. So from October 2020 to March 2021, it will be 90% and not straight away 10%, 100%. It will be 100% on 1st April 2021. Yes, liquidity coverage ratio has to be 100%. It was reduced to 80%. Now it will be increased gradually. April 1st, 2021, it will be 100% again. The question can be there in your exam when it is going to be 100% again. So I told you 1st April 2021 it will be 100% again. RBI to conduct rupees 50,000 crore targeted long-term repo operations. That is TLTRO 2.0. Tenor means tenure. That means I'm referring to the time, the duration of it. The tenor is up to 3 years. Up to 3 years. Tenor of what? Targeted long-term repo operations. The full form of it is very important. So targeted long-term repo operations, I am saying that RBI to conduct rupees 50,000 crore of targeted long-term repo operations. Let's move to the other question. Now, as I was actually talking about LCR, let's talk about rates and ratios now. You need to understand that a few days back, I actually, was discussing, but there was another meeting of RBI governor in which he addressed the press, in which he clearly stated that SLR, statutory liquidity ratio will be reduced. That's what he said. So due to that meeting, I have added these rates and ratios again, in which I wish to explain that repo rate is 4.40%, which I taught you the last time. But reverse repo rate has been decreased once again. If you can see, I've actually mentioned the date on which I'm making this video. That is 20th April 2020. Till now, the rates are this. And there's a possibility that it may actually change. The rates, the ratios may change further. So till this date, the rates are these, that repo rate 4.40%, reverse repo rate decreased to 25 basis points and it has become 3.75%. Marginal standing facility rate and bank rate remain 4.65% only. CRR, cash reserve ratio 3%, but SLR was 18.25%. Now it is 18%. Let's move to the other point. World Homeopathy Day. You need to understand, when we observe it on 10th April, there's a reason behind it. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann is known as the father of homeopathy. Dr. Daniel Hahnemann is known as the father of homeopathy. To commemorate his birth, 10th April is celebrated as World Homeopathy Day. You need to learn the theme of this day, and that is enhancing the scope of homeopathy in public health. Enhancing the scope of homeopathy in public health. World Heritage Day. See, we'll study 3 days out here. The first one was World Homeopathy Day. The second one is going to be World Heritage Day. The third one is going to be World Hemophilia Day. So World Heritage Day is observed on 18th April. And the theme which was kept. See, World Heritage Day can be there in your exam by International Day for Monuments and Sites. Yes, there can be, it can be called International Day for Monuments and Sites also. By reading the word monuments and sites, you can make out that they are talking about World Heritage Day only, which is observed on 18th April. Try to relate that because they can be called either ways. The theme which was kept, shared cultures, shared heritage, shared responsibility, and that's true as well. We all know that. That is why we are able to retain that. Shared cultures, shared heritage, shared responsibility. World Hemophilia Day is observed on 17th April and the theme was get plus involved. Plus can be that they are trying to include people. Plus can give you the positive meaning as well. That positively. See, what sort of positive attitude is required here? Must be thinking. See, hemophilia is a problem, is a medical condition where blood does not clot. If there is a minor injury on your body and the blood does not clot, that means there can be excessive, way excessive bleeding. So that is the medical condition, that is the problem. So World Hemophilia Day, I'm referring to that hemophilia, which is observed on 17th April and the theme was get plus involved. Let's move to the other question. People's Bank of China has acquired a 1.01% stake in HDFC. Even earlier, People's Bank of China had some stake in HDFC. Now they have increased it to this. People's Bank of China. I must be thinking some Bank of China. No, it is not some Bank of China. It is like the Central Bank of India. It is like the Central Bank of China. We have Reserve Bank of India. China has People's Bank of China. So I told you that in HDFC they have acquired 1.01% stake. The next question is WHO's Director General. Who's that fellow? Because during this pandemic, during this duration of pandemic, you need to understand this WHO's Director General becomes important for us. His name is important for us. So WHO's Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, and he is from Ethiopia. To the other question, because WHO has some or the other say about this pandemic, that is why his name becomes important for us. And He is from Ethiopia, even that is important. Suspension of funds under MP LAD scheme. What is MP LAD scheme? MP LAD means, MP means Member of Parliament. LAD means Local Area Development Scheme. Local Area Development Scheme. See, it is about the MPs only. You need to understand that they have given advances, many advances. So they are planning to suspend them. Their 30% salary will be, cut, will be deducted for the year 2021. 30% cut in salary of Member of Parliaments for financial year 2021. But MP LAD scheme, has been suspended. The funds have been suspended for 2 years. Financial year 2021 and 21 to 22. Let's move to the other question. PETA Hero to Animal Award. Must be thinking, what is that? See, PETA, you have heard about it, that we are referring to the animals here. So PETA Hero to Animal Award. That's the award which was given to Naveen Patnaik. Naveen Patnaik is the Chief Minister of Odisha. You've heard he has done so many good things even in the past as well. This time during the pandemic, nobody is feeding the stray animals. So he has taken the initiative where he has allocated funds to feed stray animals. Very, very nice initiative. He had to be awarded. So PETA Hero to Animal Award, Naveen Patnaik. Utkal Divas. Must be thinking, what is that? See, Utkal Divas means we are referring to the date when Odisha became the state. So Odisha became the state on 1st April. So 1st April is celebrated as Utkal Divas for the people of Odisha. I was saying Utkal Divas is celebrated on 1st April by Odisha. Let's move to the other question. UNICEF partner in Break the Chain campaign for combating COVID-19 Hindustan Unilever Limited. What does it mean? What have I written? I've written that Hindustan Unilever, see, everybody is trying, every institution, every organization is trying to combat COVID-19 in one way or the other. Here, Hindustan Unilever has actually, come outside. They partnered with UNICEF. By partnering with UNICEF, they've started a campaign that the name of the campaign becomes important, that is Break the Chain. And what is it about? Break the Chain campaign is about COVID-19. They are willing to fight COVID-19. Let's move to the other question. Memoirs and Misinformation. Memoirs and Misinformation. That's the name of the book, written by Jim Carrey and Dana Wasson. Jim Carrey and Dana Wasson, they remained the authors of Memoirs and Misinformation. See, these are the books which are in news, recently written. Now I'm going to talk about even more important book, and that is Jesus Trilogy. Must be thinking that we have read that book. When you start learning something about Jesus Trilogy, you will find many authors who have written that. But I'm going to explain the names of these 3 books. I'm referring to that trilogy in which these 3 books are there. The names of the books are different. When you talk about Jesus Trilogy, I told you there are many writers who have written that. But here I'm explaining something else. I'm saying that these are the 3 different names of the books. Trilogy, trilogy, 3. That means referring to 3 books. The childhood of Jesus, the school days of Jesus, the death of Jesus. Yes, these are the names of the book. You have to learn 3 of them. Any of them can be there in your exam. They may ask you, the death of Jesus was written by John Maxwell Coetzee. John Maxwell Coetzee is the author of Childhood of Jesus, School Days of Jesus, Death of Jesus. Let's move to the other question. RBI is promoting digital payments. Yes, on their Twitter account as well. They started that. So I'm saying RBI ambassador, they have made somebody an ambassador of it. Amitabh Bachchan has become the ambassador of RBI's Twitter campaign for digital payment adoption. Amitabh Bachchan has become the ambassador of RBI's Twitter campaign for digital payment adoption. The next question is, India to acquire from USA. What are we acquiring? We are buying something from USA. Harpoon Block 2 missiles, Mk-54 lightweight torpedoes. Yes. So Harpoon Block 2 will be purchased from USA. Mk-54 lightweight torpedoes will be purchased from USA. So India will be buying this stuff. Let's move to the other question. Asian Boxing Championship is expected to be held in India. India is the host of it, and it was expected to be held in India in the month of November, December. See, till the time no change has happened, but the possibility is that it will take place in the month of November. I am saying Asian Boxing Championship will take place in the month of November, December in India. The next question is sovereign gold bonds launched by the government of India. Yes, sovereign gold bonds. What is important in that? See, government of India with consultation from RBI, sovereign gold bonds were actually came into force. Minimum investment here is, see, these are the points which can be asked and which can actually frame questions for your exams. Minimum investment required is only 1 gram of gold. Tenure is 8 years. The tenure is 8 years. The interest rate is very, very important. That they can be, asking this question. The exams can be asking this question. 2.50% per annum will be paid as interest. I'll repeat that. Sovereign gold bonds by the government of India, they are launched. I'm saying minimum investment is 1 gram of gold, only 1 gram of gold. The tenor is up to 8 years. The tenor is 8 years. Rate is 2.50% per annum. Let's move to the other point. Now I'm going to explain that in detail, and this is the last point, but this becomes equally important. You have to be very attentive because these terms, these things are a little difficult. I need to explain them in detail. I was saying that we are going to start talking about priority sector lending now. Priority sector lending, priority sector where banks lend money to agriculture or micro and small enterprises. Priority sector where banks lend their money to agriculture or micro and small enterprises. Please understand that. Now the problem is, we have seen the problem with DHFL, that was an NBFC, ILFS, that was also an NBFC. So such sort of frauds took place. Banks are not willing to lend money to NBFCs anymore. But NBFCs are, because of that, NBFCs are facing liquidity crunch. They don't have money, they don't have cash, they don't have cash to actually lend further. NBFCs are expected to lend further. But the problem is, because of those frauds, banks are not willing to lend money to NBFCs now. RBI is giving them some sort of relaxation. To whom? RBI is giving relaxation to banks now by saying, let's read that now. On lending, RBI is saying to banks, on lending by banks, if banks lend money to NBFCs which do not include microfinance institutions, NBFCs which do not have microfinance institutions, on lending by banks to NBFCs and housing finance companies, part of, that means up to 5% only. Priority sector lending, 5% of banks' total priority sector lending. What does that mean? I am saying when banks lend money, whatever amount they lend to NBFCs, banks have to lend money to priority sector also. RBI is saying to banks that if they lend money up to 5%, if they lend money to NBFCs and HFCs, up to 5% will be considered their priority sector lending now. See, that's the sort of relaxation banks had to, expect, because they are giving money in the agriculture sector. They even want that NBFC, see, if they are lending money to agriculture sector, they can lend money to NBFCs also. But I said NBFCs 5% will be considered their priority sector lending only. Let's move to the other point, and that is on lending limit by NBFCs for term lending component under agriculture. Rupees 10 lakh per borrower. What does that mean? See, we are referring to priority sector lending only. But I'm going to explain something else here. We are going to talk about term lending, priority sector lending, which has term lending also. In term lending, when the banks lend money to agriculture, 10 lakh is the limit per per borrower. Agriculture. In agriculture, 10 lakh is the limit per borrower. When we actually move to banks limit for micro and small enterprises lending, then the limit is 20 lakh per borrower. When banks lend money in micro and small enterprises, 20 lakh per borrower, and if banks lend money to housing finance companies, 20 lakh per borrower is the limit. Let's start the revision from the very first point. I'll explain all those points very quickly so that you can retain them. So let's stay put. Don't move. Please watch the entire video carefully. 100% tax exemption on donations to PM CARES is allowed under Section 18G of IT Act 1961. And PM CARES Fund had a full form, and that was Prime Minister's Citizen Assistance and Relief in Emergency Situations. Author of Backstage, the story behind India's high growth years. Montek Singh Ahluwalia was the writer of this book, Backstage. Mumbai Central Railway Station will be known as Nana Shankar Seth Mumbai Central Railway Station from now. New chairman of NASSCOM UB Praveen Rao. RBI extends overdraft limit to states and UTs from 14 working days to 21 working days. RBI has also increased Ways and Means advances limit of states by 60% till September 2020. Sudhir Srivastava committee suggested increasing Ways and Means advances limit for the states. Number 1, state and micro irrigation under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana for 2019-20, that is Tamil Nadu. World Games, which will take place in 2022 from now, that is Birmingham is the place where they will take place. Birmingham, Alabama, which is in Alabama, USA. Summer Olympics and Paralympics 2021, venues Tokyo, Japan. Summer Olympics, Paralympics 2024 will take place in Paris, France, and Winter Olympics 2022, Beijing, China. Liquidity coverage ratio of banks reduced to 80%. Till 30th September, it will remain 80%. And when October 2020 comes, till March 2021, it will be 90% and it will be back to 100% on 1st April 2020. The next point is RBI to conduct rupees 50,000 crore targeted long-term repo operations. The rates and ratios, some of them got changed and some of them remained the same. 20th April 2020, till then the repo rate is 4.40%, reverse repo rate 3.75%, which was reduced 25 basis points, MSF rate and bank rate 4.65%, cash reserve ratio 3%, statutory liquidity ratio was reduced to 18% now. World Homeopathy Day observed on 10th April commemorate Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. This fellow is known as the father of homeopathy. The theme was enhancing the scope of homeopathy in public health. World Heritage Day is observed on 18th April and the theme was shared cultures, shared heritage, shared responsibility. World Hemophilia Day is observed on 17th April and the theme was get plus involved. Get extra involved. People's Bank of China has acquired a 1.01% stake in HDFC. That is the Central Bank of China. WHO Director General is Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus and he is from Ethiopia. Suspension of funds under MP LAD scheme, and that is for 2 years, and 30% salary of MPs will be cut for the year 2021. PETA Hero to Animal Award, Naveen Patnaik received that award, and Utkal Divas is observed on 1st April. Odisha became a separate state in 1936. UNICEF partner in Break the Chain campaign for fighting COVID-19, Hindustan Unilever. Memoirs and Misinformation written by Jim Carrey and Dana Washin. Jesus Trilogy written by John Maxwell Coetzee, and the names of the books are The Childhood of Jesus, The School Days of Jesus, The Death of Jesus. Ambassador of RBI's Twitter campaign for digital payment adoption, Amitabh Bachchan. India to acquire from USA Harpoon Block 2 missiles. MK-54 lightweight torpedoes also. Asian Boxing Championship will take place in India in November. Sovereign gold bonds launched by Government of India. 1 gram of gold is the minimum investment. The tenure is 8%, 2.50 per annum will be the interest. On lending by banks to NBFCs except MFIs, HFCs part of. Priority sector lending 5% of banks total priority sector lending. On lending limit by NBFCs for term lending component under agriculture is up to 10 lakh per borrower. Limit for micro and small enterprises rupees 20 lakh per borrower, and limit for housing finance companies is 20 lakh per borrower. We'll keep uploading the session. Thanks for watching.